This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
All right, first podcast of 2025 here on The Extra Point, the podcast and the television show. Mark McClune at the Arizona's Family Studios. That was a targeting call. I am a University of Texas alum, but I will admit that was a targeting call. Arizona State should have moved into Texas territory and had a chance to kick the game-winning field goal. There was a targeting call before Cam Scadaboo went into all nuclear legendary status and had his helmet ripped off. One of his 9 great plays that I think puts him on the Mount Rushmore at Arizona State. A lot of Arizona State things to talk about, but let's try to bottle the enthusiasm of the Peach Bowl. I'm a Texas alum, but an athletic supporter here in the Valley of the Sports, and glad to see Arizona State doing well. So let's talk about the next big event on the Arizona State athletic calendar. Arizona State hosting Colorado, the Big 12 home opener for basketball, the first Big 12 game played on the campus at Arizona State. And radio analyst, Sun Devil legend, Kyle Dodd joins us now on the Extra Point podcast. Kyle, first of all, Happy New Year, and second of all, how are you doing after watching the Peach Bowl?
I was all right, for a little bit, but then after, you sleep on it, and the next day it's like a range of emotions. You go through stages of grief, So I went from angry to sad that it was over, the special run, and just being able to share that like with my friends and my family and all of us that, bleed maroon and gold. It was so special. So now I'm kind of in the, grateful that it happened mode, just happy that it happened. And I think for all of us that have been around Arizona sports for a long time, these are the moments that we want. These are the moments that we all think that, Arizona teams are capable of, and to what the Sun Devil football team did, and what Kenny did, and Cam and Sam and Tyson and all the boys was special. It was really special, and it made us all realize, that stupid sleeping giant thing that everybody's been saying for like 30 years is like, all right, we're awake, and I don't think we're going anywhere. So it was fun, but now comes the expectations, and that's been something that ASU's had problems with in the past. Next year they're going to probably be top 10 coming into the country. Coming into the season, and we'll see what they can do. They can back it up, and I think they will. I think they got the right leadership and the right personnel. It's fun to watch.
How could a game like that, how could a moment like that, and how can bottling that energy on campus at Arizona State with the alumni, how could that elevate the entire athletic program?
I was actually talking to someone about that yesterday. I think you're seeing what football did energize not only the fan base, but other athletic programs within the athletic department. I just think that everybody wants a piece of that, and they love the feeling of that. And obviously it sounds stupid. Everybody wants to win, but it's been hard. It's not always been an easy job at Arizona State. And I think the people in the athletic department and the fans and players and the other coaches at ASU, they want a piece of it. And I think it's been good for Bobby and the basketball team. I think it's been good for everybody across the board. So I think it'll be something that we got to keep it going. And that's what I said last night on Twitter. I said, hey, if you enjoyed this feeling of family and community and the energy and just being a part of this run, then come to the game tomorrow night. Show up at Desert Financial, pack that place. There were 17,000 people in our game against BYU, and it was a great atmosphere. We need that. We need that to happen here. So don't let it end. Keep that energy going. Keep it rocking, and come out and support not just basketball, everybody, but just come out and support Sun Devils.
Well, and you certainly don't want to make any excuses for the final result against BYU, but there was quite a layoff there, and it was kind of a welcome to the Big 12 moment, if you will, with 17,000 people there. You were in some higher altitude, and offensively didn't start out very well. How much do you think that game sort of, sharpened up the Sun Devils here coming off Christmas break?
Yeah, I think they needed to get back on the floor. Obviously didn't go well. We didn't make shots. We didn't make shots that we've been making. That's led to our success. But yeah, it was tough. I think we had like six or seven games in like the first 15 days of the season. And then it feels like we've had like one game every 7 or 8 days since. So I did think it was a little bit of a rhythm thing. I thought they were out of rhythm a little bit, but there's no nights off in the Big 12. And that's why Saturdays, it's crazy to say 2 games in, but it's a huge, huge game because you have to win your home games in this league. There's not a lot of road wins out there. And if you do get a road win, it's a hell of an accomplishment. So you got to win games like Saturday.
What's the personality of this team? You look at like Jaden Quinton and you think, okay, freshman. Hopefully he can rewrite the record books here and be an absolute force. And then you got Jason Sanyon, who can really fill it up. Wondering, there's been some talk about him either starting or coming off the bench, right?
Yeah, I think those two obviously are the big time recruits, Amir Ali as well, 4-star kid. And those guys are the ones that a lot of people talk about. It's just a good mix to me of some veteran guys that have played a lot of college basketball and then some really dang good young kids. And at times I've been kind of saying the highlight plays are like from the young guys, the crazy dunks and Quainton's blocking shots and Sannon just going off, making shots from all over the floor. But then every once in a while, you need to just get a really good possession, and Austin Mason or Bashir Jihad, BJ Freeman, those guys that have played a lot of college basketball, Adam Miller, they come up and they make a play for you and they make a winning play for you. So it's a good mix. I think the roster is pretty balanced.
Is the Big 12 conference the best conference in college basketball this year?
I think it's right up there. I mean, I thought going into the year it was. The SEC's pretty loaded. I mean, we saw firsthand. I've got a chance to see up close Duke in the exhibition game, and then Gonzaga at their place, and then Florida. And those are 3 top 10 teams. And Florida they were different. They were different, and I think that conference is obviously loaded. But Big 12, yeah, I think top to bottom, it's as good as anybody, and you're just not going to get a night off. Like I said, it's a gauntlet. So it's going to be a real challenge for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, as we going through them here, it seems like Colorado has been here quite a bit. They're going to continue to be here quite a bit. Had some success against them last year. Then you get to go to Allen Fieldhouse. The Sun Devils, that's kind of like Tempe North at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, we dominate Kansas, so there's no doubt in my mind we'll handle business there. But no, and in all seriousness, I joke with people all the time. I'm like, when we joined the Big 12, one of the biggest things I was bummed about was we had to play Kansas again, because I was like, man, I just never wanted to play them again. I wanted to just say for the rest of our lives that we beat them when they were number 2 in the country at their place, and the next year we beat them when they were number 1 at our place, and I just never wanted to see them again. So our next 2-game winning streak against Kansas, we'll see, but it's going to be a heck of an atmosphere. And it's one of those buildings where you walk in and it just it's different. It's a beautiful place, beautiful building, and obviously they're year in and year out a national championship contender.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Big Wednesday or whatever they call it in the Big 12. Then you got Baylor, who's won a national championship. UCF at home. Cincinnati's always good. That West Virginia road trip, that's going to be very interesting for the Sun Devils. Iowa State, you got Colorado, and then you got the Wildcats on the schedule. And that's January. You talked about this being the gauntlet. What would you like to see? How would you like to see the Sun Devils progress heading into that Arizona game on CBS, Arizona's Family CBS 5, Saturday, February the 1st at 11 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta try to stack wins. You gotta, like I said, you gotta take care of the home court, because the roads, it's going to be very difficult this year. And it's you just listen to as you were saying it out loud. I'm just like, it's crazy, because I mean, every one of those games is going to be a game that you would circle on the schedule any other year. You'd be like, oh, that's a big one. Oh, that's a big one. But that's the Big 12. So I think the Devils really gotta kind of tighten up things at home and try to take care of your home court, and then just try to steal a road win here or there and see what they can do. They built a hell of a resume in a non-conference, but you got to win some conference games too. So.
Well, and it was fun in the Pac-12 going to Pauley. It was fun going up to Maples and Heck Ed. I mean, I covered the Cougs for a while, so I have a soft spot in my heart for Pullman. I don't know how many other people do, but there were some cool places to go. Do you? What was your point total there?
I hit a game-winning shot my freshman year at Friel. And so every time everybody's always like, oh man, we got to go to Pullman. I'm like, well, I love Pullman. This is one of my favorite places. Probably the biggest shot I ever hit. But I was too dumb to even realize the moment. I think if I would have gotten that shot my senior year, I probably would have bricked it, because I would have understood the moment. But like Eddie House they sent like 3 guys to him, and I'm like, oh God, I'm open. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to shoot this. And I just hit a 3 in overtime to win at Washington State. So yeah, I miss Pullman. I think Pullman's a cool little town.
Well, you kind of have a lot of Pullmans, it seems like, in the Big 12, with just the small town that everything, revolves around the university and the Big 12s. Is there a particular spot you're looking forward to seeing a game other than Kansas, like Oklahoma State or going to Iowa State, anything like that?
Yeah, I think Iowa State was one that I heard their home court's amazing. Yeah, Oklahoma State too. Buddies with Doug Gottlieb who played there, and we talked about kind of their home court advantage, and it's just all these different cities. I love the Pac-10. I grew up with the Pac-10 and the Pac-12. I was super bummed. I'm still super bummed it's gone, but the good part about it, on the positive side, is you do get to experience some different college towns, and I'm looking forward to honestly every one of them. I just want to see what's out there.
What's the high end? What's the if we want to just get a feel for where the Sun Devils could be in March? Could they ride? Could they capture some of this magic of the football team and make a run? Maybe it's the Tim Healy effect or the Graham Rossini effect. What could this look like for the Sun Devils this winter and spring?
I think they have a chance to be really good. I mean, like I said, they stacked some really nice wins together in the non-conference. Bobby always does a heck of a job scheduling, and he'll play anybody anywhere. And I think the reason he does that is to get these guys ready for, they're not going to see a better atmosphere than Cameron Indoor or Gonzaga was probably the best I've ever been a part of. And then even BYU this weekend was crazy. So they're not going to be intimidated or scared of the moment. But, I think if you could, for me, if you go 500 in the Big 12, you're safely in the dance with the wins that they've already had. I think I made a note the other day, 12 of the 20 games that they're playing in conference have it could be a quad one win, which is insane, so there's a lot of good wins out there and not a whole lot of bad losses out there. I mean, you obviously don't want to lose, but if you do lose, it's to a quad one team, it's not going to kill you.
And when it comes to just long-term health of the athletic program, NIL, Peach Bowl activating the Valley, what this looks like if you were to go all over Paradise Valley right now and say, hey, who wants to be part of the collective, and especially with maybe a salary cap with the class action lawsuit getting settled, health wise, how would you kind of assess where the athletic department is and where it needs to go to be one of those top tier teams, Big 12 and maybe even beyond?
Yeah, it's a different world. I mean, it's not college athletics anymore. Let's just call it like it is. It's all these kids. I said last year, everybody's a free agent, a 1-year free agent. They're in a contract year. Everybody's looking for their next deal, and until they start regulating it, that's just going to be the case. You're going to have mass turnover every year, and I think for Sun Devil fans, we got to understand, if we enjoyed these moments that we had this year, then you got to step up and be a part of the collective. And I know it's tough. I mean, I would love to give every dollar I had. I don't, it's tight, but it's just the world we live in. If you want to retain players, it's kind of what you got to do. And that's the bummer for me. I mean, I like the idea of these kids being able to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness, but there has to be some sort of regulation, because to have a kid here 1 year and gone the next, you're not going to see too many 4-year Sun Devils anymore, or 4-year Bruins or Wildcats or whatever. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast right now. And I mean, I saw 2 kids on BYU's roster that played at Utah last year. That's crazy to me. UCLA has 2 kids that played at USC last year. I mean, you got Wildcats transferring to be Sun Devils, Sun Devils transfer. I mean, that would never happen. And that's all that tells me, is that, the name on the front doesn't mean as much anymore. And I don't blame the kids. It's what we've created. But I think if we don't regulate it, it's just going to keep going out of control like this. It's the wild, wild west for sure.
It is. And you don't blame the kids, because the rules are the rules. All right.
Yep.
So there's been a lot of talk about Nick Saban potentially being the commissioner of college football. If there was a commissioner of college basketball, who would be your vote? And it's okay to vote for yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd kill it for sure. But no, maybe like a Jay Wright. Someone asked me that the other day, like a Jay Wright from Villanova, who's retired, or so someone like that, an older coach that, probably got out of coaching because of this, the situation that we're in. I think a lot of these guys, they just want to coach ball. They want to draw up plays. They want to watch film, and it's a special person to recruit re-recruit your own kids, raise money, and, tackle the NIL. And that's why I feel good about the coaches we have in place, because they're really good at it. I mean, Kenny's he's the standard. I mean, it sucks that after a big win, the first thing he has to say in the press conference is, hey, pay these kids, pay these kids. It sucks that he has to do that, but he's really good at it, and he doesn't shy away from it. He goes to bat for his players, and so does Bobby. And Graham's just can't say enough great things about Graham coming in and leading this athletic department. And it's really cool to see Sun Devils leading Sun Devils for sure.
Yeah, and Graham Rossini, I mean, I'm going to say this might be sacrilege, but, Greg Byrne, who did such a great job down at Arizona, and I say that because he has his undergrad degree from Arizona State, but he kind of, I'm getting that sort of vibe in the way he's putting this thing together. When Graham Rossini's name came up as the athletic director, and I think it took a little while, and there was some people had to be calmed inside behind closed doors there. But what do you think was the expectation when he got the job, and has he exceeded expectations?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was excited. I've known Graham, obviously, so I told people if he's going to be great. And the thing that I tell people, just like Kenny and just like Coach Hurley and like a lot of the guys that are leading us right now, they get it. Graham just gets it. He does all the little things. He's out shaking hands, responding to fans on Twitter, jumping in Sun Devil spaces with a bunch of fans, or just engaging in the community. And I think that's been a huge plus to have Graham leading us in the athletic department for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the guy who can kind of see the future here. All right, last one before we let you get out of here, and we know you're spending time with family, so thanks for taking time to join us. If there was an NIL deal back in the day after you'd hit that big shot in Pullman, which we're going to go try to pull the video from our video library, which is right across the hall here, what would it be? What would be the thing that you'd be hitting up? Would it be like free lunches? Are you doing shoes? You want to be driving the car? What's the Kyle Dodd NIL deal?
Man, I don't know. People ask me this question like more than you think, because they ask me like, do you think you would have done all right? And I'm like, I mean, I was a okay player, but I did have some like marketability because I was the little white kid with the 40-inch vertical, so I always think maybe, and everybody accused me of, I looked like a surfer or a skater out there playing, so I always tell people maybe something like that, like a surf shop or a skate shop or something, or a taco place. I don't know, just something just a little bit different than what most people get. But my wife was a All-American gymnast at ASU, and I always tell her, I'm like, man, you would have killed it. Like she would have killed it in the NIL game. But yeah, we went to school at the wrong time for sure. I remember we went and we had hats, and we went to a store on campus, and the guy knew us obviously, and he stitched our numbers on the hats, and we had to go back and have the numbers removed because we didn't pay for the stitching of the numbers, and I'm just like, so I just look at how far this deal has come, and like I said, it's good for the kids, and I'm happy for them, but it is definitely different for sure.
Do you still have the 40-inch vertical? Like how many? Like there was the college slam dunk contest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have probably more than 10 inches in me, on the vert right now. Every year on my birthday, I would dunk to make sure I could still do it. And I'm 44 now, and I think I made it to 39. I finally had an injury. I was really lucky, never broke a bone, knock on wood. I had like one sprained ankle in my life. So I was pretty healthy, but I think all the pounding and spending 20 minutes after every practice dunking to show people that I could dunk and I thought I was cool, I think was pretty hard on the knees. So just walking up the stairs is an accomplishment for me right now. So I'll leave the dunking to the young fellas. But yeah, both my kids are, my boys are pretty athletic. My daughter's pretty athletic. So I'm kind of living through them right now.
That was a good run. Well, I appreciate you taking time to share with us here we're going to call it the Dodd Pod. And here's to you having a fantastic run through the winter, and maybe we can catch up with you in March and see how we did here.
Absolutely, and anytime you need me to come on, and Sun Devil fans, keep it going. Let's not let the momentum slide. Keep it rolling, and get out there Saturday.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.
Recording stopped.